let's get right into this. So, the haters out there have been loving the fact that Caitlin Clark has needed some time to adjust to playing in the WNBA. She's had players lining up to welcome her to the league, sometimes with good old-fashioned tough defense, but other times with flat-out cheap shots that come across as nothing more than jealous Bush League nonsense. Besides three-point shooting, what does Caitlin Clark bring to the table? That was the ludicrous question posed by Kennedy Carter in the wake of her cheap shot dead ball flagrant foul dust-up with Clark.
Heading over to Clark and shoulder checking her. The refs called it a common foul, but the league yesterday upgraded the call to a flagrant foul.
Come on now, Kennedy. You don't have to like her, but don't embarrass yourself. But since you posed the question, we're happy to give you some answers. Let's start with the obvious. Butts in seats. No player in WNBA history has ever single-handedly brought more people to arenas throughout the league. The Caitlin Clark effect infiltrated the WNBA before she even suited up for a single game. At the dawn of the 2024 season, teams began moving their games against Clark's Indiana Fever team to larger venues in order to accommodate the massive demand to see Clark play. Case in point, on June 6th, the Washington Mystics moved their game with the Fever from their 4,200-seat arena to the 20,000-seat Capital One Arena, home of the NBA's Washington Wizards. It was a bold gamble to bet on filling up an arena with 5 times the capacity of their regular home court, but it quickly paid off, and we do mean quickly. The newly available extra 16,000 seats sold out in 30 minutes. And it's not just the Mystics. The Atlanta Dream have already announced that both of their home games against Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever will be moved to State Farm Arena, home of the Atlanta Hawks. Even the 2-time reigning WNBA champion Aces relocated their game on July 2nd from the 12,000-seat Michelob Ultra Arena to the 18,000-seat T-Mobile Arena. Said Aces coach Becky Hammond, "She helps ticket sales, so I think it's a really great time to have eyes. She's going to be an elite player. She's done stuff in college that nobody else has. She's going to be a great player in the W. There's no doubt about it. So the more people we can pack into the building to cheer against her, we'll take it. Although I don't know if they'll be cheering against her." Hammond's comments touch on what a transformative figure Clark is becoming, but at the same time, there's certainly no lack of animosity throughout the league towards Clark. We won't speculate on the reasons why so much hate comes her way. We'll let the rest of the internet handle that firestorm. But her fellow rookie and college rival Angel Reese sure seems like she wants to play the villain role in the worst way. Reese very clearly celebrated her teammate Carter's dead ball flagrant foul on Clark, as she could be seen smiling ear to ear and applauding the play. After refusing to speak to the media following her Chicago Sky's 1-point loss to Clark and the Fever, Reese had plenty to say the next day.
Look where women's basketball is. People are talking about women's basketball, but you never would think that we'd be talking about women's basketball. People are pulling up to games. We got celebrities coming to games, sold out arenas. The reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
Taking a very obvious jab at Clark, Reese lamented that the reason why we're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too. Reese makes a valid point, even as her words set the internet ablaze once again. But she's right. The league needs rivalries to energize established fans and to attract new ones. Rivalries have a proven track record of success. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird's rivalry, which was born at the collegiate level in an eerily similar manner as the Clark and Reese rivalry, helped revive the NBA at a time when the league was still trying to find its way in the aftermath of the merger with the ABA, rampant drug use by players, and violence on the court that made the newscast highlights more frequently than play on the court did. But wait. It's not just fans in the stands and blossoming rivalries that Caitlin Clark brings to the table. There's also outrageous TV ratings. Now, before you get upset and yell about the ratings have been on the rise for years before anyone ever heard of Caitlin Clark, just consider some of the early season television viewership numbers from May that the WNBA released on June 10th. The May 14th opening night matchup featuring the Indiana Fever versus the Connecticut Sun averaged 2.12 million viewers across ESPN2, ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus, peaking at 2.34 million viewers, making it the most-watched WNBA game on Disney platforms ever. The Indiana Fever versus the New York Liberty May 18th matchup on ABC covered 1.71 million viewers, making it the most-viewed WNBA game on ABC ever. The Connecticut Sun versus Indiana Fever May 20th rematch averaged 1.56 million viewers, making it the most-viewed WNBA game on ESPN ever. And finally, ION, in its second year airing WNBA games, saw its most-viewed WNBA game ever when the Indiana Fever versus the Los Angeles Sparks averaged 724,000 viewers on May 24th. Oh yes, the Caitlin Clark effect is most certainly real. The WNBA has a cash cow juggernaut on its hands that most businesses can only dream about. Surely WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert will use use her power and influence to move things along and demand that Team USA selection chair Jen Rizzotti save a space on the roster for Clark. What's that? Rizzotti left Clark off the roster? Surely it must be an oversight, right? It's not? Wow! Just wow! What are they doing? Rizzotti told the media that the selection committee chose the 2024 USA Women's National Team based on criteria that included playing ability, position played, and adaptability to the international game. When asked specifically about Clark, she added, "It would be irresponsible for us to talk about her in a way other than how she would impact the play of the team, because it wasn't the purview of our committee to decide how many people would watch or how many people would root for the US. It was our purview to create the best team we could." Now, that diplomatic answer sounds rational and well-reasoned, but then again, how does the committee that's trying to put the best team out there manage to leave off the second leading scorer in the WNBA and an absolute bucket in Arike Ogunbowale? How does the best team also not include Derica Hamby, who's 6th in the league in scoring at 20 points per game and leads the league with 11.4 rebounds per game, but includes Brittany Griner, who's played in only 4 games as of this recording? To be fair, Caitlin Clark may not be one of the 12 best American players at the moment. Then again, neither is Diana Taurasi at age 42. And if the argument for leaving Clark off the team is a lack of experience, it falls short when Taurasi, Candace Parker, Brianna Stewart, and Sylvia Fowles all played in the Olympics for Team USA as WNBA rookies. Team USA has a history of leaving deserving players off of Olympic teams. On the men's side, the 1992 Dream Team selected college star Christian Laettner over Shaquille O'Neal and also took John Stockton over Isaiah Thomas. Both of those moves were made for reasons that do not adhere to the putting the best team out there standard. When considering the fact that the Team USA women's basketball team has not lost an Olympic game since 1992, adding a non-top 12 player like Clark seems like a no-brainer exception that should be made to the rule. If the goal, just like in 1992 with the Dream Team, is to raise the WNBA's profile on a worldwide level, leaving your most marketable player off the team is a horrible business decision at best, and just flat out dumb at worst. Caitlin Clark's jersey did more sales on her draft day than the entire Dallas Cowboys roster did for all of last season. She is a generational player in the words of LSU coach Kim Mulkey. Renowned sports writer Christine Brennan has her finger on the pulse of women's basketball. A few days ago, she tweeted, "I've covered the U.S. women's Olympic basketball team during every Olympics since 1984. I've watched the stunning lack of coverage and lack of interest every time. For all of their victories and medals, the U.S. women's basketball players are often largely ignored by the sports media at the Olympics. The gymnasts, swimmers, runners, and of course the U.S. women's soccer team gets so much more attention. So what if USA Basketball could tap into the nation's fascination with Caitlin Clark to help?" Brennan concluded with, "If USA Basketball wants more eyeballs on this fabulous Olympic team, Clark would surely bring them, even if she is spending a good portion of her time on the bench. She has become the human gateway to women's hoops for hundreds of thousands, likely even millions of girls and boys, women and men. USA Basketball could tap into her enormous reach to help promote not only its 2024 Olympic team, but the women's game in general. Caitlin Clark might not be a top 12 WNBA player right now, and she certainly does not have any international playing experience. But leaving her off the roster was a very ill-advised decision. Clark handled the snub with class and professionalism, saying, "I'm excited for the girls that are on the team. I know it's the most competitive team in the world, and I know it could have gone either way for me being on the team or me not being on the team. I'm excited for them, and I'm going to be rooting them on to win gold." While Clark was as even-keeled as always in her reaction, what she texted Indiana Fever coach Christy Sides is proof that Clark will use the experience as a motivator to continue to improve her game and get stronger. Because when Caitlin Clark texted, "Hey coach, they woke a monster," the entire basketball world collectively smiled, knowing that we are only scratching the surface on the phenomenon that is Caitlin Clark.